Your ancestors suffered so you could be jacked and healthy. Your ancestor, like this dude right here, he understood ancestral fitness, right? And sure, they wasn't out there competing in bodybuilding shows, but they understood that being jacked is super important for looks and for health. Like your ancestor, this dude right here, he wanted to be the most attractive looking, right, out of the in the tribe, so he could get the best female that was the healthiest female as well, probably the most attractive, and then they could have the healthiest children because of that, right? And we basically need to adopt that same strategy. So obviously being jacked, being very lean and being muscular is the best way to get this kind of attractive, that's me right here, to get this attractive kind of look, right? But we also need to realize that it's health, right? Because health comes first, then comes looks. When you're healthy, you automatically you do the right habits, right? So automatically you will be better looking than someone like this guy. He doesn't do the right habits, and that's why he looks like this. And fucking look at him. Modern fitness, by the way, modern fitness only like covered 20% in terms of this, right? Being jacked and healthy. Modern fitness only cover like the basic training stuff and basic diet stuff that isn't really going to transform you in terms of health. Like training and diet is only 20% of ancestral fitness, right? Of actual true fitness and health. I'm telling you, training and diet is only 20%. So you need to adopt some more ancestral habits, which I'll show you in this video and talk about. And that will basically get you jacked and healthy. And your ancestors suffered for that. So it's your responsibility to go and get that physique, right? And in the end of this video, I'm gonna show you my personal gym split so you can have like an idea of what's a good gym split to do, because I really think it's enjoyable and it's good for your health and it's good for looks. So I'll show you that. But by the way, my name is Oscar, and if you're new to this channel, basically, if you're struggling to be attractive enough to have your dream type of girl come to you as a young man, well, this channel is basically about becoming multidimensionally attractive, which means becoming attractive in every type of dimension there is. And that's what I coined, that being multidimensionally attractive. And that's being aesthetically attractive, physically, sexually, socially, mentally, and emotionally attractive, right? Because a girl can be attracted to you based on all these different dimensions. So if you're a high level in all of these, you're basically gonna be the most attractive and attract the most out of your life, like the dream type of girl you want. She will literally be wanting to come to you because you will be this multidimensionally attractive dude, right? And so let's get into this ancestral fitness thing, right? Our ancestors strived on exercise. And why did they do that? Because you either use it or you lose it. And that's true for both your brain and for muscles. Because our body has been adapted to be pushed. Our ancestors, they had to go out in the forest and they had to fucking, like, let's say this is like an animal right here. Like a big bear. Our ancestors right here, they had to push their body if they were gonna kill this big bear, right? With a sword, with a spear. They had to push themselves. Their body had to be in like 100% health capacity if they were gonna kill a goddamn bear, right? And they did, right? They did kill animals that were dangerous and big, like saber-toothed tigers and shit. And like this dude, he couldn't even kill a fly, right? So our ancestors used their muscle, they used their brain as well in exercise. Like they didn't do traditional exercise, but they did run a lot, they did hunt, and they did like use an axe and they exercised by moving and killing things. So they used it a lot, and that's why they thrived. That's why we are alive today, because our ancestors thrived. And another thing is, like, imagine the healthiest caveman and the healthiest gorilla. He will attract basically all the females, and that's what you see with the alpha gorilla, right? The alpha gorilla is this big, like, monkey right here, right? And he's the biggest. There's other males too. There are gorilla males, but they're not that big, right? They're not that healthy, so they haven't grown in the same way like this dude did. He was the healthiest, so he got the biggest, the most muscular, and he got the most, like the silverback gorillas. He got the most biggest back, right? So that means that all the female gorillas here, they're gonna come to him. They're not gonna come to these guys over here because they're so small and they don't look healthy. If they were healthy, they would be as big as this gorilla. And the females want to mate with the highest, the most healthiest mate, so their kids can be the healthiest. And that same analogy is still inside our, we used to be apes. That same mentality is still in our heads, in our ancestral brains. We want to pick the healthiest person. Girls and women want the healthiest man for the same reason, right? But the thing is, that doesn't automatically makes us push for health, right? And push and get 100% out of what we do in training and movement and get the biggest, right? Because our ancestors, they had a very good, solid health foundation, right? They had a health foundation, but our health foundation is really fucked up. Like, we don't consume a natural human diet. Instead, we consume things like Oreo, ice cream, and fucking McDonald's, and diet sodas that isn't even healthy for you, even though it's zero sugar. Like, we consume a bunch of bullshit. We consume medical supplements that aren't natural. We drink out of plastic water bottles. We do all this, like, we don't exercise enough, we don't move, and obviously that doesn't bring us the 100% health foundation that we need to get 100% out of our training. We're more like 40%, like the average human. So if you're a 40%, you're not super healthy. You're not the most unhealthy, like, fat American out there, but you're not super healthy. Well, you have at least, you can add 60% to that, right? You can add 60% and you'll be at 100% of your health foundation, and then you'll get a lot more out of your training. You'll be like your health and your attractiveness, therefore, because this is about the physical attractiveness, right? That one, your health will basically compound, and that will make your looks compound. So if you're just like 20% healthier than some other dude, so if you're at 60% and some other guy is at 40%, you will probably look like 50% better than him. You will look a lot better even though you're just a little bit healthier, right? So health compounds. And that's why we've seen the reverse of this in this example, that our hunters and gatherers, they had like these perfect big skulls, right? These big, like, with good cheekbones, with wider jaws and shit. And this is the modern man, right? We don't have that anymore. Our heads are more like long and narrow, and our jaws are narrow. That's why we have to have braces. But the ancestral, our hunter and gatherers ancestors didn't need any braces, because that's an unnatural solution. But it isn't really a solution. It's just like a band-aid to fix that crooked teeth problem that shouldn't be there in the first place, right? And the next step to basically health maxing, to get the most out of your training and becoming jacked and healthy, is your gut health. And your gut health is essential. And why is that? Well, it's because all disease starts in the gut, right? All disease starts in the gut. That's what we have known for a long time. So symptoms like a lot of bloating, when you eat, right? A lot of burping and excessive farting and shit. That means that there's something your body is telling you, basically in your gut, right? Because that a lot of shit, like you see in this picture, starts in your gut, and these ones are just like common symptoms. If you're having these ones excessively, that means that something in your gut isn't completely right, and it's like that stage one of sickness. So you won't be very sick, right? You won't feel that horrible unless like when you really have a bad bloating and shit. But then stage two is like some more sickness, right? You actually get a cold and shit. And then stage seven, that's, oh fuck, seven, that's cancer, right? So then you're basically, then you're basically dead, right? And or you might survive, but it's like toxic in your body. Your body is literally producing toxic and shit. And what this means for us is, or what it meant for our ancestors, was that they could be pretty ignorant and still be kind of fine, right? Because they didn't have a lot of lifestyle shit that affected their gut. And then, like I said, that's stage one, right? Your gut. And then went to stage two, and then stage seven in cancer. So basically, cancer didn't exist for our ancestors, right? It's a modern thing. They could be ignorant. They didn't have to go and think about how do we optimize gut health and what can I eat and what can I not. They just ate the same food, the simple food, the meat, some berries or fruits occasionally when the season was right for it. So in the summer, and they ate maybe some fish, but mostly like meat from big animals, and that's how they thrived, right? And now we can't be that ignorant because our world is much more complex, like you see here, right? We have all of this to think about in our daily lives, right? Job, car, health, whatever, invest, risk, money, and that reflects in our health habits as well, because we now have to think about health as a bunch of habits that we have to get right. But I'm telling you, it's worth to invest your time, effort, and even money to have better health habits, because it will compound in your health, so you'll be a lot more healthy than you were before, and you will be more attractive because of it. So we have to have higher standards, right? And how do you start having higher standards? You first start to eliminate what's ruining your gut. And what's ruining your gut right now, well, that's firstly processed food. And I'm sure you've heard that before, because processed food, what it does is basically puts a lot of shit. Like if you have something that was normal meat, for example, let's say this is meat, and when they process it, they put a bunch of shit in it, right? They put sweeteners, and they put, different things so it will last longer, and they put, seasonings that are not, supernatural, and they add things to it so it will be tastier, like even sugar, right? And now it went from being like unprocessed meat from an animal that wasn't, processed at all, to being a processed product. And that's not good, right? That's not what you want to eat and digest, because your body can only eat and your gut can only digest what's natural to it. Like your gut cannot digest something that it couldn't find in a tree or from an animal or in the ground. Your body doesn't know it, because your body is the same as this guy's, right? You have the same body, you have the same functions. We haven't evolved, our body hasn't moved on, and our brain as well, right? And body affects brain. So you obviously have to do this to avoid shit like brain fog and stuff like that, because that's showing you that what you're eating and how you're living is affecting your brain, because you can't think right and you're kind of tired, especially in the middle of the day. All those symptoms are like symptoms of brain fog. You're having a hard time to focus. That means you have to do something to your body and heal your body, and the stage one is obviously in the gut. So yeah, processed foods is horrible for you, so just eliminate it completely. And I'm not saying that you can't go to the supermarket, because I do that, but I eat basically things that when I turn the product around, or the thing I'm buying, I see that the ingredient list in there, there's only one ingredient. You only want one ingredient in all of the foods you're eating. So I eat rice, right? And when I look at the ingredient list, it's just rice. It isn't some added fucking bullshit, right? Like it's in, like if you've seen these corn boxes of cereal, right? In cereal, they put fucking 50 ingredients in it. You can literally turn a box of cereal around and you'll see that there's 50 like carbohydrate, fucking cellulose, maximum things in it that is horrible, and they're feeding that to children. So that's wrong, right? That's wrong by these big companies that are just putting a lot of sugar and a lot of additives, things in there to make it feel tastier, but your gut can't handle it at all. It doesn't know what it is, right? And a rule of thumb I heard from a guy on YouTube named Lucas was that if there is like a boardroom of people behind what you're supposed to eat, they've planned, this product out, and they've added, what they want to do, add in it to make it more marketable, to make it sell more. If there's a boardroom that created a product, that's basically a product, and you shouldn't eat that. You should eat things that are natural foods. And I do that even though I do shop from the supermarket and not like a farm, which you could do if you have that availability. I eat, well, chicken, I eat meat, red meat, I eat rice, I eat salmon. I don't eat things that are, multiple things put together. That's a processed, right? And once you've eliminated that, you'll start to heal your gut. And you can also eliminate other things. You can eliminate stress. That stress also comes from, or often comes from, eating in a very stressed state, right? So you can eliminate that. You can eat slower. You can add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in water, mix it and drink it before your meals. You'll digest better, right? You could try experimenting with some fermented foods, or that's actually in this stage. Let's take this stage now. So once you've eliminated that, you've eliminated the processed foods, and that's all like sugars and candy, stuff that tastes as good but actually fucks up your gut in the short and the long term, and gives you a physique like this guy, which you obviously want to avoid, and the health outcomes, that obesity, diabetes, infection, injury, all this shit that you'll actually get if you do eat processed, weird, sugary shit for a long time. After you've eliminated that, you need to rebuild, right? You need to rebuild and do something that's gonna be more sustainable, and something that's gonna give you a health, protocol that you can follow for your gut health, right? And that's basically, well, swapping out the processed food for the foods that I mentioned, the one ingredient single foods. So eating just chicken with rice, with some eggs. I do that. I add avocado. That's a complete meal for me. I don't need any sauce that has like 15 ingredients in it and a bunch of sugar and a bunch of weird macros, right? I don't need to add taste things or like something. I don't need to add complex spices that have like 7 ingredients on them, right? I can have a simple spice like salt and black pepper and paprika. That's what I use basically, right? So you rebuild that, and you will see that your gut health will become better. And when you do that, you're also gonna add some lifestyle habits outside of that. So basically exercise, basically looking at your food not as just as pleasurable, but as fuel. So you actually need to have good amount of protein, of course, because we still want to be jacked. I would aim at around 1 gram per pound of body weight or something like that. And then you need to actually cover your vitamin needs, especially if you have deficiencies, and that's where things like red meat comes along. So don't be a vegetarian, never be that. Be eating red meat. You could add vegetables as well. I'm not saying that vegetables are, you know, automatically horrible for you. Maybe some are, but I believe that paprika and carrot and broccoli are fine because, you know, they don't even taste bad. And you'll want to add maybe some fruits, experiments with that depending on the season. If it's in the middle of winter, you might not want to do that, right? And with the lifestyle habits, obviously we're talking about sleep as well. So we're talking about getting 8 hours of sleep, minimum 7, right? And going to sleep at the same time every day. So you're not, you know, winging it. Sometime you're going to bed at 12 and another day at 10. You're gonna go into bed at the same time every day, and roughly, you know, you can be flexible with like 5-15 minutes, but roughly around the same time every day. And that will help your circadian rhythm, which is your internal clock in your body, kind of um, go back to normal, which is how these guys lived, right? They woke up when the sun woke up. They didn't have alarm clock, so they just woke up like when the sun woke up. So when the sun woke up, and then they went to sleep when the sun went down, right? That's how they did it because they couldn't have lights up and shit like that, so they had to, you know, go to sleep. And that's one thing that will obviously affect your health long term very positively. Um, and like I said, not eating in a stress state, not eating that bullshit shit. Maybe limit plastics in terms of your cooking things. So don't cook in plastic. Don't cook in, you know, use plastic spatula, use wood, or use in your pan you're cooking shit in, use cast iron or stainless steel, right? And also be wary of seed oils because these oils are basically horrible for you. So anything that says seed oils is bullshit, right? Look out for seed oils because those oils will fuck up your health like immediately and a lot, and they'll be stuck in your system for maybe a couple of weeks. So don't use them at all. Use like normal butter when you're cooking, and yeah, that's basically it for your lifestyle habits, right? For the gut health. And what I also want you to think about is slow down, because our ancestors realized that being slow, or they didn't even realize it, but I realized that they were slow because that is more attractive, basically. Like everything slow is more attractive. When you walk slow, when you talk slower, when you're not rushed, you know, when you do what you need to do slower, right? You don't sit here and work and type like a maniac. Uh, you do things with intention and you do them slow. Like a dude walking slow into a big room is gonna seem a lot more attractive than a dude fucking running in, right, and pantsing and being like, hello, hello, I'm sorry, I'm late. Like that isn't attractive. And being slow will actually be very good for your nervous system, and that will come back to, you know, the eating and shit. But being slow is basically attractive, so you gain attractiveness just based on that. When you're walking slow, you'll have better posture, you just look better walking and standing and talking, right? You won't seem like a fucking stressed out freak, like stressed out, nervous dude, just that can't even contain himself, right? So that's very good for also being stress free. When you're not stressed out in your movement, how you move, you're basically gonna feel a lot more stress free, right? You're not gonna have that stress of always being fast and being, you know, speedy with things, and also slowing down in your mind, like looking at things in from a slow lens. It's often the best way forward, right? Like this quote here says that being slowing down is often the best way to find a solution to something. And I really found that because my story of stress eating and my screen habits were basically horrible I didn't slow down at all during my day, and especially not when I ate, because I would just, you know, throw the food into my mouth and chew it really fast and barely even chew it until I swallowed it. Like, not whole, of course, but didn't chew that properly, just rushed it down because I just wanted that pleasure. And that's stress eating, right? And that's some fucking traumatic shit. Like, that might be because of your trauma or something, or you're just that type of person that eats very fast. And I'm telling you that when I do this and when I did this, I would get bloated as fuck immediately, and that would last, and I would get stomach aches, and that was basically the sole reason for my stomach aches and bloating all the time. But when I started eating slower, eating outside, getting sunlight on me, eating very slow, maybe a meal lasts for 30 minutes because I eat quite a lot. I only eat 2 meals a day, so my meals are really big. So that takes me 30 minutes to eat, and that's fine because you can just enjoy it and be grateful for the food you have. You chew it maybe 20, 30 times before you swallow it, especially if you're eating things like meat, right? Red meat. That's a good protocol to chew it like 25 times before you swallow it. And don't swallow it like don't sit like forward like this and swallow it like that. You have to stay upright, stay in a relaxed posture, and you swallow it using your tongue, right? Not your whole face, right? You're not supposed to make like an expression swallowing your food. And also look at your screen habits, because those using your screen, that's the time where you're gonna be constantly found having a lot of impulses and seeing a lot of this shit and this shit. Like, your phone is basically a, just a distraction, thing, right? So you'll be on a freaking Instagram, and you'll see this, and then you scroll down to this video, and then you scroll down to this video, and then you click here, someone's story, and then you comment on this, and Instagram, TikTok, and every short form basically app is basically the same. And I was going on those while I was eating, and you should definitely not even look at anything while you're eating. Just eat, right? Don't be there trying to be productive while you're eating. Just eat and then go do something else, right? But your screen habits overall shouldn't be that you're on TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube, if you're watching like short videos for more than like an hour a day. That's a really huge problem. And an hour is still a lot of time you're spending, feeding your brain with a bunch of bullshit that are on these apps, right? So basically, fuck this, right? And you also got to learn to, chew slow. You can go on walks. That's very good for slowing down. And you don't have to put on your favorite music or put on some YouTube video or scroll on social media while you're walking. You can just walk and literally take in the day, take in, nature around you. Go hug a tree or something, right? That's very good. Meditation is very good, and it isn't that woo-woo, Buddhist practice that a lot of people think, or like I thought once I started meditating. It's just like closing your eyes, breathing, and focusing on your breath, but you don't have to actually take deep breaths. You just breathe like normal. You try to focus on, okay, I'm breathing in and out and in and out. Your mind is on your breathing, right? And then you're probably gonna get some random thought of, oh, this is gonna happen tomorrow, or I wonder how this person is, and whatever. And then you're gonna recognize that, hey, I'm not focusing on my breath anymore, I'm focusing on something else. So then you return your focus to the breath again. That's like a bicep curl for meditation, and that's how you do meditation. And once you do that, you'll be so much better at just slowing things down, right? At being controlled, at being peaceful, right? You won't have these 100 thoughts in your head all the time. Once you actually do this daily, by the way, for maybe start with 5 minutes, then do 10, and maybe do 20 minutes at max, right? And you'll also benefit from doing some grounding. And our ancestors, they did grounding all the time, right? They just walked around with bare feet, and that's literally how we're supposed to walk around as well, but it's a little bit harder in our world. But you can intentionally do that by just going into some grass, right, in your back garden or a park or something, and just going barefoot, and maybe doing some activity, playing football or whatever you like to do, or just walking around, and maybe having some sunlight at the same time if it's a sunny day, right? But even if it's not, it's good for you to just see light. Like even if it's cloudy or some shit, you can still benefit from seeing the light, because the sun is still there. It's just behind the clouds, and that goes for also getting morning sunlight, which is quite popular, and that I do as well. So first thing in the morning, you wake up, you go to the toilet, and then you go and get your morning sunlight, right? For maybe 10 minutes or 20 minutes. That's very good for you. That will fix your internal clock, like I mentioned, in your body, as well as going to sleep at the same time, whatever. And if you can't do the sunlight because it's winter, or you live in a country where it's dark when you wake up, you can use a light therapy lamp, and that's available online. It's not that expensive, so that's a really good option. You could also journal, which I do 2 times per day. I do gratitude journaling in the morning. That's like 5-10 minutes of writing 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for every day, writing those down in a journal. And you could all like this, for example. You could use one of these, or a bigger one if you'd like. And I also do journal for maybe 10-15 minutes in the evening before I go to bed, before I go and brush my teeth and stuff, because I really like to just calm myself, get these thoughts out of me, and put them on a piece of paper, so when I do go to sleep, I won't have all these thoughts, going around, and I'll be able to fall asleep a lot faster and easier, right? So that's slowing down, and this is the foundation that you need to basically level up your health. And while doing that, you'll get a lot more out of your training. You'll be able to make this type of transition right here, right? And that will make you a lot more attractive, right? Automatically, because you'll look a lot healthier. You see, I don't have those eye bags like I did here, and I just am a totally more healthy person and more attractive. And you'll do that, you'll get more out of your training, you'll enjoy your training more, and you'll, come closer to fucking looking like this dude. And you won't even have put in a bunch of, effort in your training, like the fitness industry. You don't have to have some crazy training split, training 2 times a day, training, with super heavy weights, or doing fucking testosterone or other inject peptides or steroids, right? You just have to have the foundational health like our ancestors had, like they had, right? They had 100% health foundation. That's why they got so much out of their training. That's why they could actually look like this, and they didn't even fucking lift weight. They lifted rocks, bro. So that's basically what you can take out of this video, right? And now for my gym split. So my gym split is starts on Mondays, and I do arms, and I basically train 5 times per week. And I used to do 6, but I find that 5 times has a lower strain on your central nervous system, and the way you like get affected, your brain gets affected from training. It's a little bit much to do 6 times a week if you're doing heavy lifting, not super heavy of course, but if you're doing weight lifting all those 6 times per week, which I was doing. So I'm trying 5 times a week right now. So I'm doing arms on Monday, and then on Tuesday I'm doing legs. On Wednesday I do push. On Thursday I do pull, and on Friday I do legs again. And I have a rest day on Saturday, and a rest day on Sunday. And maybe on one of these, on Sunday actually, I do running. Yeah, I do running on Sundays, and that I do very very chill type of running, so zone 2 and very relaxed for an hour, 70 minutes, just going to, yeah, you just run outside preferably, and you know, just a little cardio session, which is also beneficial for your health if you're not overdoing it, right? And on this rest day, I might do like some sport activity or something, just to have more social interaction or something, but that isn't like a workout, right? So you'll actually have a normal rest day also in the week. And doing just like push-pull legs, because you could do that right here, isn't actually what you want to do. You want to have this arm session right here, for just arms, right? Because if you do push-pull leg and not have any supplemental training for your arms, you know, you do one arm exercise in each push and pull, right? Tricep, and you do bicep here and pull, you'll actually not develop your arms at all, basically, and you'll have like this spider physique of your body being pretty nice and big, but your arms won't be big at all. And just improving your arms, making them bigger, will make your physique look like 10 times bigger, bro. I promise it will, actually. So that's why I do this, and I do 2 leg days, which I don't do a lot of volume on at all, because it is very taxing for your central nervous system, and you will be very fatigued if you do super much volume and super high weights on leg days. So don't do that. But you know, you could remove this leg day if you wanted to and add more volume on this leg day, but I just like to split it up like that. And what I usually do is 2 to 3 sets. I don't do 1 sets on anything. I just do 2 to 3 sets, so I don't have to do so many exercises, right? And then I do like between 8 to 14 reps. And I used to do a little bit heavier, like 6 reps or 5 reps on some exercises, but I've recently felt like I get a lot of more injury risk and a lot of more like fatigue and strainings if I do super heavy lifts. So this rep range is a lot better for you if you're playing the long game, right? If you want to get this result, which isn't going to take you 1 month, but I did this in like a year. And sure, that was new begins as well, because I was new to the gym here. But this transition is definitely possible if you take in everything in this video. And yeah, that's basically it for this video. Don't be one-dimensional, be multidimensional, or become multidimensional. Remember that, because you'll actually benefit so much more out of your life. Get your dream type of girl come to you, and your dream lifestyle with that, like I've experienced. And also, I have a free Discord server that's linked in the description. So below this video, you'll see a link, and you can click and join that community, because there I will be answering your questions basically for free. And you can even talk to me personally on a live call for free. Everything is free in there. And yeah, that's just extra support from me personally. So if you want that, go join. And like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. And remember, don't be one-dimensional, become multidimensional. Peace.